What's going on, guys? So, my name is McKinley Griggs. I've actually had a channel on YouTube before. I'm actually redoing another channel, so this is my wedding photography. Before I did a channel that had related to, so pay no attention to the dog back there. Before I had a channel doing a lot of fitness, so I've switched gears. I'm kind of doing more wedding photography. I've always had a passion for photography. Um, and wedding photography is just kind of something that fell in my lap. So just kind of a little backstory. My wife actually had a cousin who got married, and they needed a wedding photographer. And just like most wedding photographers, I was a little skeptic about doing it. I'd done a lot of landscape photography before, and I really enjoyed that. So I figured, what would be different about wedding photography? So what I did, and what a lot of people don't really agree with, is actually shooting the wedding for free. So I charged her nothing to shoot this wedding. So, and I was going to be there anyway. I mean, I'm close with her, so I actually went through and shot the wedding. So everything turned out amazing, and I enjoyed myself. I really liked capturing their day. It was awesome. So the test after that was, how much would I enjoy it if it was someone I didn't know. So I put it out there. Hey, I'm going to charge very little for this wedding. I knew that I wasn't going to, charge very much because I had no experience in the area. I didn't feel like I should charge that much because I didn't know what my worth was in way of, actually shooting this wedding. So fast forward 3 years. Here's my one that I've recorded kind of on. So this is kind of what that looks like. Just like any typical wedding day, I start out basically getting detail shots. So with this one in particular, I don't normally bring along any matting. I know a lot of photographers do, nothing wrong with that, of course, but I mean, it's just one extra thing to carry, and I don't feel like it's really needed in certain situations. What I tend to do, and what you'll see me do here in a few minutes, and I'm not sure why the video is messing up like it is. So this is all shot on an Insta 360 camera that's kind of attached to my Holdfast on my shoulder. So Holdfast, Peak Design, and then the Insta 360 camera is actually inside that little, setup. But as you see, what I'm doing here is I'm actually using the bag that the bride's shoes came in. That I'm going to use for my mat to kind of use instead of the little chase chair that I've got everything set up on. So that's kind of the direction I'm heading with setting and laying out the details. Also, as you can tell, sit right next to the window, so I got really good window light. That means I don't have to set up and work with lights or anything. I try my best to avoid taking any of my lighting gear out, especially this early on in a wedding day. I don't want to really make people look at me and bring a lot of attention to myself and be worried that I'm going to be intrusive and stuff like that. Instead, I would rather just set up in here and do my own thing and get the details, get all that started before I go and start putting my camera in people's faces and stuff like that, I guess. Alright, from then on I kind of just go into taking some candid shots of people talking, enjoying themselves, getting ready for the wedding day. As you can see a little bit there, I know it's kind of crooked, that Maggie is kind of getting her hair finished up and everything's kind of coming together for her. This is a really difficult room to work in. I was trying to bounce light off the actual ceiling because it is white, so it kind of worked. Kind of not, I guess, because of all the other lights around and everything. It kind of made everything still look yellowish. So bouncing the light didn't work for me very well. It's semi-worked, but not the best. So yeah, I try to always get these candid shots and everything after the details are done. And I also try to go through and get some stylistic type shots for Maggie and stuff like that. Whenever she's getting her hair done, like the hairspray shot, you might see that often. Just kind of something that kind of shows something a little more stylistic than just taking the straight on shot or the pose shot of her there. I also get those too, just as kind of a safety shot, but as you can see now, I'm just kind of moving away to set the light behind her to get that hairspray shot. I wish I would have gotten the light a little closer That way I would have actually gotten a good, amount of, her head blocking the light. It was a little bit too far back, but as you can see, the table was awful, full of hair, makeup, and everything else. So, yeah, I think I got the shot. If I did, I'll post it now so you can see it. But yeah, it's not like something that it's not exactly what I was going for, but I think it worked out in this case. I think it turned out looking good. Then of course we went on to like group shots. This one's kind of weird. So basically, as you've seen kind of just a while ago, I was pointing off to the left, and there was a girl to the left. Going into the wedding, I get a list, or try to, of people that are going to be part of the wedding party. I do my best to learn their names, but I'm not real good with names. I'll be the first to admit that. The girl that was off to the left there, she was actually the officiant, and I didn't know that. I asked for the officiant's name as well, but honestly, I didn't think anything about the officiant being there. There was no mention of her friend being the officiant, so when I was telling her, we'll get this shot, and she's like, I'll just hang off here, I was like, well, that's different. Okay, well, there must be something going on. So, I kind of just went with it, and then just asked later, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense then. I didn't know she was the officiant. So, yeah, but we got the shot of the entire group there, so that was really fun. Everyone's kind of like having fun together and stuff like that. It's really, fun shot to get for everyone. Something fun for her to have her entire group before everyone actually starts getting dressed. I think they all their shirts are obviously like matching and stuff, so that's kind of cool. On to the outside of the venue. So this day was so windy. You're about to see in some photos coming up just how windy it was, but I always like to get an establishing shot of the outside of the venue. This is the Jewel Box in St. Louis Forest Park. So it's a neat venue. It's not your typical venue for sure. Mainly because this is mainly that that they actually use this venue as just a place for the ceremony. So no reception takes place here that I know of. I'm sure you probably could rent it out for the night, but like you're about to see here, this is mainly set up for the ceremony, and that's what they are using it as. But yeah, that's obviously it's a big greenhouse. It's greenery everywhere, all green, all around, the entire year. So that was it's super cool. It's a different look. So regardless of the time of the year, you're gonna have a sheltered place that's green, and you can kind of, stay warm while also seeing the outside world. Of course, the light in here was amazing because, well, that's all it is just windows with a little bit of covering, so no top-down light or anything like that. It's just the windows. They also had a live, like, orchestra-type band, which that has got to be the first for me, as far as, like, people just playing violin and stuff like that. I thought that was really neat. Different aspect. Really set the mood. So that was really cool. This is basically where the wedding party would be walking up at too. So right now I'm just capturing some candids and stuff like that, as far as like getting those candid shots of people like taking their seats and stuff like that, listening to the music. I was kind of enjoying it. It's a different pace for sure. They were still getting set up front with the speakers and everything, so that's kind of something they were doing. But yeah, I was kind of wandering around trying to figure out exactly where the bride was because she hadn't showed up yet. But there was actually a fire that happened on their way there, so they were held up by the fire truck. So that was crazy. But yeah, the actual them standing up there, just kind of like, so yeah, they were actually just standing up there, and I just kind of captured some pictures of him just kind of waiting to see her walk down the aisle for the first time. They did not do a first look. So this was the first time that he would be seeing her. Now I thought that was going to kind of be spoiled just due to the fact of the whole fire thing going on that happened earlier. But it worked out really well. Everyone got here. We had very limited time. In fact, one of the guys that cleaned up in there, he'd stopped me and asked me to get them out as soon as I could, which we had planned to anyway, just because we wanted to take photos in the front of the building, so the next wedding could set up to have their ceremony in here. So that was kind of neat. I always like to get a shot from behind the dad walking the bride down. I don't know why, but I think the light hit that dress perfectly. It was awesome. But yeah, just the photo of them behind, just to kind of like see as they're walking down, and before the dad hands his daughter off to the groom there. So the bridesmaid walking down, they actually forgot the rings, and I was talking about that earlier too. It was kind of funny. I was talking about someone had walked up and forgotten the rings, so she had to walk back and grab the rings real quick because they were just left in the back in there where they were lining up at. So it wasn't like a huge deal, but I just kind of she smiled at me and I immediately knew that's what it was. I was like, oh man, yeah, that that tends to happen. It is what it is. I think the funny things that happen like that aren't detrimental to the actual wedding day is just part of the story, and I enjoy that type of stuff. Just small things, they happen. No one's to blame. It's just fun. It's just something fun to laugh about later. So yeah, as we're kind of wrapping up here, the everything's about after I get my safety shots. Basically them standing down there saying their vows and stuff like that. Then I try to get some like more creative shots, in the mix with that. Mainly because I don't want to one be standing there and kind of, you know, looking like I'm not doing anything and I'm just waiting, and two because there's nothing going on, so I kind of get a little bored standing there not doing anything. So that's when I started like implementing doing some more creative shots, obviously paying attention to what's going on because I never want to miss like the first kiss, even though I know it's like an important thing for them to get. I don't they don't really like get it printed. It's just like something I think that's been built in that people feel like they have to have, and I've never missed it. I honestly don't know where that like came from. Why you have to get that first kiss? Why it's such a big deal when I've never seen it printed. I've never seen it put in albums. It's not something that is the end all be all, but I know it's kind of a traditional thing to land that first kiss shot. And yeah, look how windy it was. It's crazy windy out there. So yeah, I was trying to get them all to take their glasses off, and I was like, you know what? If you guys want to leave them on, let's just get everyone a pair of glasses and just leave them on. I was like, if that's cool with you guys, uh, then yeah, we'll just leave them on and take the shot. I think it's something different, and she didn't mind. Obviously, it's her day, so I'm definitely going to you know make sure that she gets the images that she wants. If I catch it and want them to have them pull them off, then I'll ask first, basically. Yeah, so get everybody all lined up for the entire bridal party shot next. It's a lot of like just people like moving around, trying to get it to where it's not stagnant and boring. He did have one girl on his side, and she had two guys on her side, which again is totally different. But I didn't want to mix them up in a way that would have put all the girls on her side and all the guys on his side, because that's not how they were actually invited to the wedding. So I wanted to keep it kind of like everyone together that she actually invited on her side, and everyone together that he invited on his side. So yeah, we got the picture, caught it. Still, so I mean, look at the dresses, guys. The dress is so windy. It is so just like wind blowing everywhere. I'm surprised her hair isn't blowing in her face. I didn't get too many flyaways, which is, I guess, it's lucky in a way, because I wouldn't have to worry about cleaning it up. But I mean, yeah, it was extremely windy out that day. I just couldn't believe how like crazy windy it was. Yet we are all done with bridal party shots. Now it's on to spending some time with just the bride and groom alone. Obviously, one of our favorite times. So as you've seen there, I kind of picked my stand up, and I love, love, love these drop stands. 8200 light on there, mag shoe connecting the 8200 to the actual light stand. But yeah, the drop stands, you can't see it right there, but basically the way it works is as soon as you set it down, the center base like kind of pushes itself up, and oh, I lost my hat, and it kind of pushes itself up, and then the legs kind of pop out. So it goes from basically being a pole
back into a stand as soon as you set it down. I mean, I've been using these things for years now. I could not imagine going to a wedding without them at this point. I mean, it's just they're so helpful because as soon as you say you're like walking through a venue right now, it's pretty. I mean, it's open. I'm not going to run into anything that's not in my way. But if you're like going to a venue with like a bunch of chairs and stuff, since they got everything all set out, you're going to bump into stuff with the legs already being like in the tripod mode, unless you fold it up, and that just takes time. So I just picked this thing up, carry it along with me. I weave in and out of chairs and stuff, set it down, done. Super cool. Love those things. They are a little bit heavier than traditional tripods, but honestly, I only carry like three of them, so it's not like super annoying, hilly heavy. Yeah, you can kind of see how it pops out right there. But yeah, so we shot. So it's super bright, obviously, as you can tell. I try to always keep sun to their back. I wasn't using flash right now because I didn't need it. But I always carry one with me just in case. The 8200 is probably a little bit more powerful for this than what I need because I'm not trying to overpower the sun at the moment. So I just carry it just in case because I'd rather have it and not need it and not have it type thing. So that's kind of error in the way of caution. So the real big thing here was we wanted to get images of the flowers because in front of the Jewel Box here in St. Louis, the tulips bloom around this time of the year, and they're really vibrant, and there's a lot of them that's right here in front of the Jewel Box. Problem is usually where you have people set in front of the Jewel Box, there's so many people behind that you can't like have them all move. I mean, it's an open park. You can't just like say, hey, get out of here, doing a wedding thing. So, you either remove a bunch of people from the back end or you find a different way to, you know, shoot to kind of make it different. So what I chose to do was actually like bring them over here by the tulips and shoot back into the road, which is like also kind of weird because there's a lot of cars back there and I don't like that stuff either. But what was really cool is I don't know if you can see it just yet, but their trolley is kind of back there as well. So with the compression of the 85, basically that more or less blows out the background, but also like brings the trolley forward. So it gives them a little bit more, a little bit more of their story is kind of built in. Plus, if I needed to, as you can see here, I kind of just shot across the top half of the tulips to kind of give that yeah, that effect. So yeah, you can see the trolley there. I mean, unfortunately, they parked right next to a pole, but it is what it is. I could have removed it, but I didn't want to do that. I mean, a lot of people tell me they're like, "Oh, well, why didn't you remove the poll? You could easily remove it in Photoshop." Yeah, you can, and I would if the couple have a problem with it, or if they were going to get it printed and they, I don't want them to have a telephone pole in the middle of their photo that they have printed. But if they're just gonna view it and share it and stuff like that, I mean, maybe it's lazy. I don't know, but I just don't feel the need to like remove it unless it's like some type of art photo that we've created together to kind of, go for a specific look. Look at that wind. The flowers are going to blow right off their stems. Geez, I just couldn't believe how windy it was that day. It was crazy. Plus, you're right next to the water, so it's just like increasingly windy. Normally, I don't have like my couples sit on a bench because as you sit down. Oh yeah, I show them the picture. So I really like to do that, like show them like here's what we're capturing. This is what it looks like, and I mean it. That's the one I just you guys just seen up on the screen. That's what they got to see. So yeah, they were super excited about it. I mean they yeah, they loved it. So I mean I could tell I was doing something right. I've never had anybody say, yeah, I don't really like that. Could we do something else or something like that? So, yeah, I mean, I guess it's risky doing that, but I'm confident in the images I capture for my couples. I mean, if they didn't like my work, then they probably wouldn't have hired me as their wedding photographer, which is okay. I mean, my style is not for everybody, but they were happy with it and they were happy with the other stylistically. captured photos that I got for him later on. So yeah, it all worked out. And on to the next location. So I try to get a few walking shots with my couple, just kind of like walking together. I feel like that's a little bit more natural. So it's like they're spending time together on their wedding day. They're kind of walking. There's less posing. Kind of keeps them feeling a little bit more natural. The flowers were in bloom on these trees. You can kind of see them there out of the corner. And it also has the jewel box again in the background, so it tells a little bit more of their story compositionally. But yeah, I mean, it was just super hard in this area, and as you're about to see, yeah, there's the image. So it looks, I mean, turned out looked awesome. Again, wearing sunglasses, but they were cool with it. So it's just super hard in this area. 'Cause look at that. There are people like everywhere. I'm guessing there was like maybe prom or something, homecoming, I don't know, going on at this time. So yeah. What you just see me put on my flash there is obviously from Magmon. If you're not familiar with them, check out Magmon. They're amazing. Uh, Not sponsored by them, of course, but I mean, they're super awesome. I use them all the time in a number of different ways. They have so many different modifiers. They're great. What I put on there was a sphere and a grid. Grid is for, more pinpoint lighting, less spill, and sphere will create more spill if you don't have a grid, but it also like really gives you some soft lighting, and it's super light. Normally, what I would do is I carry my mag box with me, which is a 24-inch octabox. But as you can kind of like tell, I mean, in the wind, it would have been just like insane to like carry that around this day, and it probably would have blown over. So I think what I did here, as far as just getting the mag sphere and the mag grid put on, it's probably the best option. But as you can see back there by those trees, all those people were in that photo that just flashed up a while ago. And I had to cut all those people out, which is what I was saying earlier. As far as like the pole being in front of the bus, sure, it's easy to fix that stuff, but that was just more of a candid, fun photo, whereas this one is a little bit more on the side of like a stylized type photo. We're using the arches, putting them in the center, kind of framing them using that. Uh, they're kind of in their environment. Glasses off this time, of course. I mean, it makes more sense to do more cleanup if needed on this photo as far as people are concerned than it did on the one that looked like they were kind of just sitting in the city, enjoying their day together, waiting for time to pass by, capturing photos, stuff like that. But there were so many people on this side. I'm like, hey, look at them all. I'm like, hey, let's go ahead and flip around. So here in a second, you're going to see me actually go, after I take this shot, you're going to see me actually go to the other side of the, I don't even know what these things are called. It's just basically statues of this wall out in the middle of this field. There really isn't any reason for it. I don't think there was like a house set up or anything like that. I'd really like to go back and fall because I think that tree right behind them would probably look amazing during the fall if I had like a lot more leaves on it and stuff. That would probably look pretty cool. I think this was right before it was like blooming season, so it was like right before all the leaves got on the trees and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I would like to do. Go back in the fall and do this. It'd be super cool. See what that tree looks like. Maybe I'll just go take a shot just because no, for no reason. Just landscape type photography stuff, or maybe on film. I've been shooting a lot more film here recently, so that's maybe that would be fun to do. Just go do something like that. Yeah, but all these kids just like sitting on this wall. I'm guessing they're waiting for somebody. Not, I mean, I'm not like, oh, these darn old kids on my grass type, not that type of stuff. But I mean, they're like in the way of other people doing what they're out there to be paid to do. I mean, they're not doing anything but sitting there on these structures. Well, they're free to do that, of course. I mean, I'm not going to get on to them. I will ask them if they're in my frame, if they would just like kind of jump off there for just a second, just so I can get this quick shot, and then, I'll be all done and whatnot. That's what I try to keep it as, simple as possible and not like try to add any agitation to anything, like get the kids all mad or something like that, and photobomb an image that I've been like trying to set up or something. I don't want that to happen. So yeah, as you can see, I mean, I got them centered, and then the kids you can kind of see off to the right part of the frame there. That's where they're sitting at. So I have to go and ask them to move. which, is what it is. I got this image. It's turned out pretty good. I thought it turned out pretty well. So, and the couple loved it, and that's really all that matters is the couple love it. But yeah, this is where I was like asking the kids, I'm like, hey, you want to step down so I can get the shot real quick? Just so I had to have as much cleanup. There were still heads I had to remove and stuff. This one was really neat. So I don't know if you guys know what Brennheisers are, but what I end up doing here is I get as low to the ground as possible, try to center the frame. I use a 24 millimeter lens, center them in the frame, and then try to get, you know, a few different shots, uh, like from bottom up, and then I stitch all those together in Lightroom. Now, it does a really good job of doing this. The files end up turning out huge, but the depth of field and like the way everything looks and things that are you're able to get in focus and stuff because obviously your focus point moves as you move, the camera is awesome. And this really built into their story. They definitely wanted to do the fox because this is where he proposed to her. So that's yeah, that was really really neat. So the next thing I had for him was actually a surprise. I really wanted to do smoke bombs with him, and I asked him earlier on. I'm like, hey, I have these smoke bombs from Enola Gay, and I'm like, why are you guys interested in them? Would you like to do them? If not, no hard feelings. It's just something that I brought extra in case you wanted to do them. The problem was this is the last spot we were stopping, and I'm like, whoa, I can't necessarily set off smoke bombs on the on the sidewalk. People are gonna be walking through smoke, right? There's a little park kind of across the street here. Not even a park really, but it's just enough grass that I can actually go over here and like pose them and everything, and like have them set off these smoke bombs. But along with that, there's also some type of event going on down there. So it's like I felt like I was, 0 for 2 at that point. But this guy here I'm talking to actually told me that the event was over and they were packing up. So I'm like, cool. So I go ahead and waved him over there so they didn't have to walk across the street for no reason. Um, got the image of her running across the street, which I thought was really neat. But yeah, went ahead and set up my light. I did want to put a little bit of light on them, but not enough to like really overpower anything like that. It was more or less just fill. Um, but yeah, this is the spot kind of we set up for the smoke bombs. I have no idea if what I did here was illegal or not. But I mean, it's smoke bombs. It's not dry out. We were as safe as we possibly could be, and these Enola Gay smoke bombs are really good. We didn't set them on the ground; they held them. Of course, we threw all of our trash away and stuff like that because I don't like finding other photographers who have littered in the area and not picked up after themselves. So obviously, I would refuse to do that as well. So yeah, we're just kind of getting set up for the shot. As you can see, the sun is right there behind the Fox Theater. The only issue is this little water thing that you can kind of see off to the left there of Maggie or camera right. Um, that thing, I mean, it's right in the frame, but obviously that was easy to remove. Just put a patch of grass there, not a big deal. So yeah, this is I kind of go through with them and tell them, this is how the smoke bombs work. I walk through my couples, kind of let them know, say, hey, don't point it at yourselves, just because the smoke could stay enclosed. Not that it would burn you. Kind of point it away from yourself. Don't grip it. Don't put your hand close to where the smoke's coming out because it could potentially get hot. Now, these smoke bombs are made specifically for photography and videography. So, yeah, so they were made specifically to do this. You don't have to like worry too much about it because that's what they're made for. So yeah, as I'm coaching them through it, I mean, we're kind of having like little laughs and stuff like that. As far as like, oh, what are we gonna do? And it's like basically what we do is, just stick them out, kind of walk toward me. That way they walked into the flash, um, and kind of just look at each other at this point right here. I was telling them this point right here, come together, give each other a kiss. And that's kind of like where we're going with that. But as you remember me saying earlier, and I probably should have thought this through, this is kind of my own thing, but I had already mentioned it to him, so I didn't want to like go back on, oh, you can have these smoke bombs, but then like, oh, never mind, you can't have these. It was really windy, so it was blowing the smoke everywhere, and I was like, I should have thought about that. I don't know why that didn't click, but it is what it is. You live and you learn. They really like the image though. I think it turned out good. So yeah, I think it's definitely a keeper for them, and I'm glad I actually went through with it. So yeah. So I mean, the wedding day is pretty much over. After this shot, we didn't have much left to do. Just send them on their way, and call them back in later, and you know, actually show them their photos and stuff like that. So once we were all done, I mean, I tell them bye, tell them to have fun on their honeymoon. I don't know for sure if they were going on a honeymoon this particular couple or not, but yeah, as you can see, the smoke bombs are still going. These are super awesome smoke bombs, so they're expensive. But if you want to do some type of smoke bomb photography, then definitely, I'd say definitely go with the Nola Gay. They're really awesome. They're super super cool, and if I remember, I'll put a link to them down in the description box here. But yeah, if you guys like the video, make sure to give the video a like. I know it's a long one. I'm hoping to post some more videos here soon. This one took me kind of long to do because I'm busy and have weddings to shoot, so which is a good thing. I love my job. So yeah, but hopefully you guys like this one, enjoyed it, maybe found some value in it, and hopefully we'll see you or talk to you or see you in the comments in this one and in the next one. But you guys have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video.